Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to be doing a little bit different of a video. As everyone knows, about every 4 to 6 weeks, Raid Shadow Legends gets an update from Plarium. This is normally can be anywhere from a big update like we've had recently with Doom Tower up to just Fusion Champions and a couple of other minor changes. But what I found normally when we read the patch notes is they're a little bit light on detail and things happen in the background that Plarium don't always release to the general public. So what I thought would be a good thing for us to do is to break down their patch notes from a detailed and game code, I suppose, a science point of view, and then also look at things that have changed in the code that Plarium haven't told you. So big disclaimer, just to say at the start of this, I'm calling this the unofficial patch notes, mainly because Plarium will always tell you anything that has been mined or acquired from the game code is not official because it hasn't come from them directly. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong or inaccurate, but I don't want any content in this video coming out as if to say Plarium have made this statement. They haven't. However, it's important that people know this. So this is going to be the unofficial patch notes, and we'll also break down their official patch notes. So let's get started. So I've got the patch notes up here that they released. Obviously they normally do highlights than the patch notes after. We're only going to look at the patch notes. So we're not going to cover the Doom Tower bosses. I think Hell Hades covered those, and there's lots of other content creators out there that have got some content around the bosses, how they work and everything else like that. Same thing with the artifact sets. Pretty much self-explanatory. You get the Savage set with crit rate, and you also get Resistance set with a bit of defense. No real changes to how you acquire them or mechanics. They're pretty much carbon copy of other bosses. So let's have a look at clan quest changes. Now, I'm glad that Plarium have taken my guidance, my advice, whatever word you want to use. Guidance is probably a little bit ego, and actually implemented the change that I suggested, which was just give 90 quests at the start. Let everyone pick one of each type of quest, or if some people want to take 2 elite quests, that's fine. That's good clan engagement. That's good clan management. It's not, hey, you can't take a quest this week because there aren't enough available. And it's good to see that they've also changed up the shop a little bit, and these revenge accessories I think are very, very good in multiple places: arena, clan boss, various different places, especially on people who heal or people who will do mechanics that are based on an A1 attack. I think these revenge accessories, considering the price point and the accessibility for most clans, are very good. But let's just break down what this means now in terms of progression of your clan. Now, it would be remiss of me at this point to go and ignore the fact that Plarium called me out and said that the math that we put together, the table, which suggested that it would take 20 years to get to level 20, was a joke, meme, whatever word you want to. Math is not a meme, but hey, Plarium. Right, so how does this change? Let's go back to the table and update it now for the 90 quests and everything else that we've got going on. So this is the table that I originally produced that I've now updated for the original release we had of clan quests. Now obviously this table got distributed around various different content creators who were joking about the fact it was a meme. I mean, it's a math. It's, you know, what do you want me to do? If Plarium are going to say there'll be more ways to get XP, great. Well, we don't know what that is at this point. I mean, we've been waiting for a dupe system for 18 months. So until they actually confirm future ways of getting experience, currently the only way you can do it is by completing quests and clan versus clan. So what I've done is I've mapped all this out now and I've updated it for the latest patch. So we've got 90 quests available from level 1, and we get 750 per week for clan versus clan. Now obviously clan versus clan is fortnightly, so if you're a tier 6 clan, every member of that clan, if they complete all milestones, can get 50 extra clan XP, which translates, if you've got 30 members, 1500, divide it by 2, because obviously you're doing it every 2 weeks. It basically means on a weekly basis you would get 750 contributed, but it would come in 1500 batches every fortnight. So this table here assumes, 1, you get tier 6 clan versus clan and you complete all the milestones every time, which is obviously not available to everyone, but that's obviously the 2% target, or the 2% threshold for top clans. And the other thing it assumes is you never miss a quest. So that means every week you're doing all of the quests and everyone is completing their contribution. It doesn't matter who completes what contribution, that it just means that you get 90 quests, you complete 90 quests. I think that actually will be a problem for a lot of clans. In our clan, we always do tier 6, and we've still got a number of elite quests available that people are a bit hesitant to pick up, because it could be things like 5 million shield in tag team arena. These are quite difficult or time consuming to do. But we'll assume that you do this. So what that basically means is you can get your 500 XP boost from the completing 30 quests 0.3 times in a week, which means it roughly translates to about, you can do about 1500 clan XP per week. A little bit under, it's about 2.7 completions. So what that basically means is typically, now one thing I have done here is you'll see I've ignored the first 4 levels. The reason why I've done that is that roughly is how much achievements will give you from when we first saw the release. So I've just assumed that none of those quest XP counts towards level 1 to 4. And in all honesty, you'd be getting to 1 to 4 very quickly anyway. So what it basically means is you're going to get roughly around about 2250 experience towards your clan per week. Now, let's run through this. 5 is a big milestone. That's when you get revenge accessories and Yannica fragments. Great. We get to that very quickly. Awesome. 13 is the next big milestone. This is when you get the book and I think it's like the chicken, the core, not the core hammers, that's later on. But basically the next 2 major rewards that you're interested in. And then 17 is when you get the legendary book. So even with the new changes, it's going to take us a year to get to the epic book. And we're looking at 4 years to get to the legendary book, which is still too long. Now, you can call it a meme, you can call it whatever you want. Ultimately, if the system remains in the current state, it's going to take too long for people to actually get something meaningful other than revenge. Now, the revenge accessories make it less of an impact, but let's face it, we might as well forget getting a legendary book because it's never going to happen at this rate. And the epic book, it's 1 epic book a week. It's not amazing for clans who are doing tier 6 all the time and who are doing 90 quests. You know, they're probably looking more for the legendary books than the epics. So that's the updated timetable. You know, you can joke about it as much as you want. Math's math. Play them, give us more XP. The second thing that they have changed is obviously this introduction of revenge accessories. Now, there is an issue with this thing, and I'll show you what this issue is now. So, we can get, in total, in terms of clan gold now, about 4,200 if we're being fair to our clan. So what I mean by that is the clan member, the way it should be designed is 1 clan member takes 1 basic, 1 advanced and 1 elite. So everyone gets the same amount of clan gold per week, and then every fortnight you're going to get some extra clan gold from clan versus clan. So we've mapped out on the right hand side here how much we earn. We're going to get a 350. We're going to get 4 of those batches a month. All of this is based on 1 month contribution. So we're going to get 4 350s, 4 200s and 4 100s, assuming we do all our quests. We're also going to get 2 batches of 150, 250 and 400 from the highest tier 6, that's the tier 6 clan versus clan reward. It's just the best you can get. So what that means is a top clan, if they do everything all the time, can get 4,200 clan gold a month. Now the problem we have here is, firstly, if I want Yannica, because I don't have her, whatever, that's a choice, it's an option. Basically half of that currency is going to go into Yannica fragments, which is fine. What I want to preface this with is I don't have a problem with the fact that you can't get everything of one thing if you want to split your gold. If you want some Yannica fragments and you want some energy and you want some brews and you want some revenge accessories, you shouldn't be able to get everything of everything in the shop per week. However, if I wanted to just get all of the opportunities to get revenge accessories, there isn't a way to do that in the game. If I want to buy 10 revenge accessories and the top one 5 to 6 star, which I would say to any player here, don't bother with the 4 and 5 star, you might as well just wait and save your gold for 5 and 6 star, it's a better odd. you can get 10 a week at a cost of 140, which translates to 5,600 gold coins. Now I'm just doing basic math here, but that's what, 1,400? Someone clearly didn't pay the mathematician at Playroom again, because if we do the math here, that basically means 1 week in a month I can't buy anything in the clan shop if all I want to buy is revenge accessories. Which again, I wouldn't have a problem with, except what's the point of making it 10 per week if I can't actually buy to that limit? So again, as I said before with the experience, we need more ways to get clan gold. Now again, we could see it in personal CVC rewards if that's going to be a system. But they haven't announced anything since they announced that it was going to be there months ago. So it's feeling a bit like, have they just decided that this is what they're concluding as extra ways? But yes, currently you're going to have to make pretty difficult decisions about where you spend your clan gold. If you want the Annika fragments, you're going to have to sacrifice revenge accessories. If you want the energy, you're going to have to sacrifice both. It's a trade-off. But I do think 4,200 is not enough. So that's the breakdown of how the clan works. It's a bit of an extended math exercise here, but that's what we do on these video series. So let's crack on with the rest of the changes in the patch. Okay, so obviously 2 new champions, the Fusion Champion and Calvalex. I'm not going to go into any detail about what the champions do, how they work. That has been covered by Hellhades in his videos. But just to note, you can see the multipliers on the hellhades.com website now. Calvalex is a pretty strong nuker, PvE-wise. Looks to be pretty good. Rorik, we're still debating about whether he's actually useful or not. But yeah, they're in the game. Only 2 champions this time, quite a low amount. So let's talk about some of these very nondescript, I call them, champion and battle fixes. So we've changed Mother Sibel's AI so that she uses her uncanny transfer skill at more effective times. There's nothing in the code to suggest that. All of the AI stuff is done elsewhere in the code. But I'd be interested to see what they mean by more effective. Ultimately, AI is not such a big issue now that we have the AI tool. Provoke debuffs transferred by Riho Bone Spear's Reflect passive skills are now removed when Riho dies. That sounds just like a bug fix. Snorting Thug now counterattacks the Demon Lord correctly. There's no changes in the code to suggest they've changed something, so it must be an AI thing they've changed. The turn meter boost is now displayed correctly for Cornelia when an enemy's attack removes the sleep debuff. I've noticed some skills they've changed a lot of Izona's turn. I would imagine that's something related to that, where they've basically been a bit more strict about whether something happens on a turn or not. Fixed a bug that caused Inquisitor Shamael to not counterattack under certain conditions. So in the code here, they've changed it to essentially check each champion has definitely got a debuff, where before it was based on and just conditions about whether he could counterattack. So it's just a little bit more fixed. Fixed a bug that caused Totatsu's death to be visualized incorrectly. It's graphical. King's Grog's War Machine passive skill now works correctly when an enemy is revived. We'll cover that in a second when we look at unreleased changes, because that's not really explaining what has changed. Volgoth's Festering Dynamo passive skill now works correctly when counterattacked. It's a bit weird that this is said counterattacked. We'll see why when I actually explain what they've changed in the code. Magnar now correctly spreads 2 random debuffs from the target to all enemies. Again, I'll explain exactly. So some of these changes, I'm repeating myself here, we'll cover them when we look at all the code specific changes. Fixed the bug that caused champions to get stuck together and freeze the battle. That's just gameplay bugs probably. Fixed the bug that caused champions to get random extra turns during the team up attacks. I think what this translates to actually is if you ally attack and your champion has an ability to gain an extra turn on their A1, you won't get that anymore. I've seen Seer do this from time to time. There's nothing in the code that they've changed to suggest that they've done that, which makes me think it's done somewhere else. But that's what I'm assuming that they've done there to solve that problem. Okay, fixed an error on info, we don't really care about that. And then these gameplay experiences are minor. This doesn't include everything they've changed in the game. So the next section, we're actually going to go through a detailed breakpoint of things that they've actually changed. And some of these things are actually quite important and relevant if you're using the champions or if you're approaching a different area of the game. So let's cover those next. Okay, so this will be the section where we're covering the unofficial aspect of the patch notes. So these are changes that have happened during the patch that haven't been announced by Playroom. So again, disclaimer, these are not official. So they are in the game code, they're probably active, and I think some of these things should have been put in the patch notes. I'm going to break them down now. Okay, so the first thing is something that some people have already picked up on. They have changed the Sachi model. So before she used to swing her weapon, whatever type of weapon it is. Now she just stands still. It's one of those things. I don't know why they've changed it. Another thing they've changed is Adjudicator, who is a high elf rare. They've changed her aura. It's now an arena only aura from all battles. Depends if you're using this champion, but check your aura. It's no longer relevant. I don't know why they've made this change. It doesn't seem very purposeful, but it is in the code. Another thing that they have changed is the actual skill description of Corpulent Cadaver's A3. In the game, it used to say it will provoke for 2 turns. And I did go back and I checked a few content creators who've created videos about a year ago, just to see whether or not it was used to be 2 turns or whether it was just a text issue. So from what I could see from those videos, it looks like that it was always a 1-turn provoke, but for some reason the description has been up for well over a year that it was a 2-turn provoke. So if you're using Corpulent Cadaver for something other than the Infinity Gauntlet for the single target provoke, it is only a 1-turn provoke, which brings it in line with other provokes as well. There's not many champions that can provoke for 2 turns. I think Umbral is one of the few. Change to Whirlim's A1. Previously it would say it would place the Veil buff. So if we just go and check what Whirlim's ability here is. So yeah, so Whirlim's A1 used to say here, places a perfect Veil buff on an ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns if the freeze debuff is placed, or it'd place just a normal Veil for 1 turn if it was not placed. They've now changed this to say if it's specifically blocked or resist. So what that basically means is before the description suggested that if you didn't place it from the fact that you didn't roll on the 30% or booked up to 50% chance to place a freeze, that it would therefore place a Veil. Doesn't do that. So basically it has to pass the 50% conditional, and then if it doesn't get, if it gets blocked or resisted, then you get the normal Veil. Otherwise you'll get the perfect Veil. So that's the change with that. So this is an interesting one. Ethos's A1 destruction, HP destruction, has now got a clause in the code which suggests that it doesn't ignore HP, it doesn't ignore shields anymore. So what I'm roughly translating that in, which is a bit difficult to explain, is it won't now do 15% HP destruction based on all the damage. It'll only do it, I think, based on non-shield damage. I think that's the best way to describe it. And you know, someone in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially when you have champions that ignore shields, there's a clause in the code that says ignore shield is a true. This now says false, and this is a new addition. So I think it basically means that his HP destroy might be a bit weaker if you're facing any shields. I don't think it affects him in any particular way, and the only real place that you're going to be using HP destruction is Borgoth probably, maybe an arena if that's what you do. But yeah, just to note, the shield now will have an impact. It might reduce some of that HP destruction. Okay, 3 more changes on champions, and these are the stuff that were in the patch notes. So, where in the patch notes it referenced that King Grog will now correctly apply his passive when a champion is revived. What they actually mean is, if a champion is revived with Revive on Death, that now will be included as a condition in his passive, where before it was only a physical revive from another champion. That's the main change there. Whether it makes King Grog viable, I mean, let's face it, he doesn't hit hard enough for most people. He does hit decently, I think, but I think probably some people probably sleep on how much damage he can do, mainly because they probably have higher, S-tier nukers. He's around the Herndeg level, but he is obviously very conditional on getting a 3 background. But basically his passive now will work on Revive on Death, which might work on some Doom Tower floors, but really doesn't impact him. In terms of Magnar's A3, they have changed it now so that the debuff spread component is actually a different target. Before it would target AoE. So I think what that actually was doing was it was going, okay, hit an enemy. If any of the enemies had HP burn, then debuff spread. Where now what it will do is go hit the enemy. If that enemy has HP burn, debuff spread. So that should be, I guess, I don't know whether it's a bug fix, whether it's a nerf, but effectively it's working what it was intended to do, where before it was working probably not as intended. And finally, Vogel's passive. Now, I don't really know why this is the case, but essentially what they've removed is a condition within Vogel's passive that would require any attack to be not an attack from your allies. When they've obviously said that it's based on counterattack, so not entirely sure why that's the case, that ally turns would be considered a counterattack. But hey, anyone who uses Vogoth regularly, let me know if you're seeing anything weird or anything wonderful in the comments below. But from what I can tell, nothing has changed in terms of the healing output of the passive, other than the fact that they've removed this clause that the only thing that would stop it from working is if it was an ally turn. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, let's talk about some game mechanic changes. So they've now made a change where anyone who places ally protection, it specifically states that it is removed when the producer is killed. That suggests to me that there were situations in the game that ally protection would remain even after you killed the protector. Now, I don't know if anyone has seen that evidence before, but that is now in the game code, which means that it should work as intended. And there's also been a text change to Grithion Skybond stacking. Previously, the multiplier would just be 1, but now it specifically states it adds 1 to the stack. I don't think it has any impact in terms of the way that the damage will be increased on Grithion, but keep an eye out in your Griffin runs. If you notice that the boss is hitting a lot harder, this could suggest that previously he wasn't stacking his Skybond properly, and now that they've corrected it, he is, or they've made him stronger. So just something to keep an eye out. My gut tells me it's just a description change in the multiplier rather than a game change, but it's worth noting that that has happened. System changes. This is a little preview. So in the game code now, they've hinted that this is coming, that we will get a chance to essentially run one run and get double the rewards for double the energy. I think they're going to be calling this super raids. The description that's in the game code right now is get double the rewards in one run with super raids. Save time and progress faster, twice the rewards, twice the energy, but only one raid. Now, there is suggestion that you can turn this feature on and off, but it's also coded as an event. So I'm not sure whether this is going to be a limited time event or whether this is going to be a permanent feature, but it looks like it's coming closer, could be within a patch or two. As to whether I think this is a good system change, I'm on the fence about it. I think this is a kind of a bad fix for a problem that they don't want to deal with, in the sense that you now run the risk that if you hit a 3% or you fail for whatever reason, some runs just have an innate fail rate. For example, Spider Team, you might have a Bellinor who's doing decreased defense and weaken, but he 3%'s the decreased defense, but you rely on that and therefore it fails. Now, if I'm running this super raid, it means that I've just wasted twice the amount of energy and lost twice the amount of rewards that I could have got. Whereas what we actually want them to do is find ways to remove things that are time sinks, like faction wars. I would expect they're going to sell potentially something alongside this. Who knows? It's all subjective at the moment, but it's in the code, the text description, it's on its way, so that's something to look out for. One thing that I think should 100% have been in this patch notes, it's a bit weird that they've done rotation 2, but they have rebalanced a lot of the Doom Tower rotation 2 difficulties. So what I can see so far is on normal boss floor specifically for Doom Tower rotation 2, the enemies you're facing are about 20 to 30 enemy hero levels lower. They're on around now about what you would face in Dragon 10. In terms of hard boss floors, they've almost like fixed and standardized. Some boss floors in rotation 2 were like 230, some were down at 140. They've now set it so that every wave up to the boss is 180. This doesn't affect the boss themselves, this is just the waves up to there. They've also targeted some really complicated secret rooms. So secret rooms 2 and 8 in both normal and hard have completely new floor configurations. Secret room 4, 9 and 12 have had the difficulty lowered slightly. Not a lot, 15 to 20 enemy hero levels, but a little bit more. And the secret room level 7, actually they've now changed it so that the enemy heroes are fully ascended, where before they were unascended. Let's just check Secret Room level 7 to see what that actually now means in terms of the enemy heroes you're facing. So if you're not aware, there's now a raid stages tool on the Hell Hades website where you can look at every encounter in the game. Doom Tower, we've got Doom Tower campaign, clan boss, has all the rewards, but it also has secret room requirements, and then it will give you what you're fighting. It'll also tell you how much accuracy and resistance you need to beat the encounter for those different breakpoints. Now, this is the floor they've changed, Secret Room 7. So these champions here will now be fully ascended, which is only really important for whether or not the skills change. And I'm pretty sure people like Helmet, people like Cethalia's will change based on their ascendancy. So next rotation, whether it's 2 or 1, keep an eye out for that. Those changes are now in the game. And if you want to look at any other stages, you can look at the stages tool. Okay, so those are the rebalances of rotation 2. I think generally they're pretty good. They should make it a little bit easier to deal with some of the boss floors. It sounds like they've standardized it, which is good. And the secret rooms certainly reducing some of the difficulty on some of them. I think the ones they've targeted are like the rare spirit ones. Will help a little bit, but I don't really think it solves the difficulty of them. So the last thing I want to cover here is revenge accessories. Obviously this is a new accessory into the game, and I thought it would be a good idea to just run over how it works, some of the questions that people might have, and also what are my probabilities and reward chances from the clan shop. So the first thing to cover here is they are an independent event. This works very much like Cycle of Magic and Refresh and the other types of accessories and abilities. That basically means if I've got a retaliation or an avenging set and I've got a revenge accessory, it's going to check both separately. So it's going to go, do I get a counterattack from revenge? And then do I get a counterattack from retaliation? If I get one from revenge, it will disable the retaliation. And if I get one from retaliation, it'll disable it from the revenge. That is because you can't counterattack multiple times. You can only do it once per turn. This also, there's no specialty around revenge either. It'll suffer the same 25% damage reduction that typical counterattacks do as well, which means that your A1 will do 25% less. I still think, regardless of these, it's very powerful, because if you think the situations in clan boss, more counterattacks equals more damage. If you've got a pretty good chance of masteries, 50%, but if that 50% doesn't proc, then you've got another potential anywhere from 5 to 15% chance to counterattack again. If you're relying on healing with Leech, War Master, these are all different variables that will just make your runs much better. In terms of a new accessory that they just randomly dropped in without any update or any sort of pre-warning, I think this is one of the best ones they've done. In terms of the clan shop, looking at the code, you've got basically a 60% chance of getting the lower rank in whatever chest you choose. So if you're picking the 4 to 5 chest, it's a 60% chance will be a 4-star. In the higher chest, it's a 60% chance it'll be a 5-star. You've then got a 40% chance that it's the higher option. So 40% 5, 40% 6-star. You've then got, once you pass that roll, if you roll for 40%, you've then got a 25% chance that it will be a legendary piece and a 75% chance it will be an epic piece. There is no specific odds for faction or type. This is evenly distributed. It'll just roll one of the 3 or one of the 14. So I think generally those odds are pretty good. Being able to guarantee me 10 5-star or 6-star accessories that have a pretty, 1 in 4 chance of being legendary is great per week. Certainly worth your gold coins in my opinion. It's not one to ignore. So that's the patch note breakdown. We're probably going to be doing this every patch. Some might be a bit more lengthy. This one was a bit of a lengthy one. There was lots of little changes. Some will be a lot quicker to go through. I hope that was interesting. Let us know in the comments below if you like this type of breakdown. And next week we'll be doing more videos on the science. And yeah, thanks for watching.